have to say now. Huh?
David.
Another episode of Turnbuckle Boxing. I am your co-host, Brandon Jones, followed by with my main man, Reg Lewis. Reg, say what's up to the people.
What's up, people? I co-host Reggie Lewis. We're in the building, Turnbuckle Boxing. Thank you for stopping by and tuning in for another episode of Turnbuckle Boxing.
Well, I mean, I heard there was a big fight this weekend.
Yeah, I think it was on Saturday.
Yeah, and I heard we have, for the first time in history, a three-time undisputed champ that goes by the name of Terrence Bud Crawford.
Yes, you heard. Well, you heard correctly because I heard the same thing, and then I know someone else who heard, and they confirmed it. They confirmed it and validated and said yes, it did happen. Something did go down on Saturday, September 13th. History was made,
Yes.
and we have a three-time undisputed champion in Terrence Bud Crawford.
Yes, sir. So, and for the new listeners, the new viewers, just give them a rundown of what took place Saturday night, who he was fighting against, what was at stake, all the goods, because I don't think people understand the magnitude of this moment, especially the casuals. I think a lot of people, especially if they're Canelo fans or they're just new to the sport in general, don't really understand the significance of what Bud was able to accomplish on Saturday night.
Yeah, you're right about that. What you guys have to understand, especially since it was on Netflix, it attracted the type of viewership that wouldn't ordinarily be sitting down watching, a Canelo fight and especially a Bud Crawford fight. So what happened was not only was history made, it was made in a way where I think God had his hand in it, because from the diehard fans like you and I to the casual to the Canelo lights, the non-casuals had an opportunity to tune in just out of convenience. I mean, hey, I got Netflix. I'm going to watch this fight, see what all the hype is about. And they were able to witness somebody who had been smothered most of his boxing career have a moment on a grand stage in a monumental, destructive way based on what he did to his opponent. And this wasn't just one of those fly-by-night boxing matches, people. This was one of those, and I'm talking to the non-casuals and the casuals who just happened to stop by while it was posted on Netflix, that you were sitting and watching greatness take place in real time.
That is a perfect way of putting it, Reg, because it was a masterful performance. I don't know that I've ever seen Bud better than Saturday night. He got hit a couple of times, but a lot of those shots that Canelo threw, especially the shots that normally his fans ooh and ah, like the body shots that really hit the elbows and don't hit the arms, that don't really hit anything.
Right.
And everybody was concerned, can Bud take Canelo's power? Can he take the punch? And when he did get hit, what did he do? He smiled.
He smiled at him, shook his head, and it wasn't one of those smiles or head shakes that said it really hurts, but I'm gonna pretend as though it didn't. It was really one of those situations where it was like, again, this it? This
We saw that with when Errol was supposed to be the bigger, stronger guy.
Yep.
He hit Bo with everything he had, and it was just like, that's all you got.
Yeah. And then and we talked about this on the last episode where we had a fighter in Errol Spence that dominated the weight class, and Canelo, who dominated the weight class, for years. And I looked at those similarities and said that that's to Bud's advantage going into this going into this fight. So it's just interesting to me now, like when you go through the comments, that the fanboys, the Caneloites, I like to call them, they're not there anymore. They're there. They're reading the comments. They're just not making any.
Where are you? Where did y'all go? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
You know, because I remember Bud saying that they were going to go home upset and crying, or quiet and crying. One of the something.
He did. He said that. Yep.
Something to that effect. And he was right, Reg. Because if you notice, I will be honest. I watched half the fight with the sound off because I didn't want to be swayed by the call. Okay, so and as you know, I was live scoring as we were watching it.
Right.
So I didn't want to be swayed by the call of the fight, because sometimes that can happen. Your ears can make you see something that's not really there.
That's not there.
You know, and so I turned the sound on after round 9.
Wow.
I turned the sound on for the championship rounds because I had seen enough.
Right.
I had seen that Bud won the fight, especially after round 9.
Wow.
Right? And when I turned the sound on, I was shocked at how quiet the Canelo lights were.
Oh.
I expected it to be, raucous and them chanting,
trying to,
God, all the things that they normally do.
Trying to rile him up.
There was none of that. And correct me if I'm wrong, people. Maybe there were chants happening, rounds 1 through 8 or rounds 1 through 9. I heard nothing from 10, 11, 12 because there was nothing for them to say.
I think they were on the edge of their seats in a way that had them saying, is he about to get knocked out? We're asking, is he about to get knocked out?
Yeah.
Which leads me to that round. I think it was the 9th round. Could have been the 10th, where the headbutt happened. And when that happened, I just thought that was a veteran tactic,
right,
because Bud was about to get him out of there.
Yeah.
So his only hope was to headbutt Bud, hoping for a bigger gash than that. Yeah, and then, the blood affects the fight moving forward. But Bud was so pissed, for lack of a better term, that he just looked at Canelo in a nonverbal way and was like, yo, dude, really? Mm-hmm. You just did that?
It was on his face.
And then, of course, the referee has to say, it was an accident. But...
And you know what, man? And I love that ref. He usually stays out of the fight, and he just does his work. And I like when he is the third man in the ring. Mm-hmm. He did a great job Saturday night.
I think so too.
He did a great job. He did not interfere, in the contest in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But come on, it wasn't an accident.
It wasn't an accidental headbutt. It was intentional, and it should have been a warning. But during our last episode, I also mentioned about God being where there was going to be a 4th person in the ring.
Yep.
And I think that was part of the favor and grace that covered Crawford when because Canelo got a big head. And think about the exercises he's always doing with his neck, you know what I mean, when he's training or just staying in shape. So for him to launch and hit Crawford and it doesn't at least break skin enough for him to start bleeding and the blood affects the fight, to me, was evident that there was a 4th person in the ring and he was covered with favor and grace.
Right.
Because that could have changed the fight.
It really could. Because you know what that made me think of was Fundura and Zoo won.
That's exactly what I thought about.
I was concerned because as soon as, he asked, am I cut? And the ref confirmed, yeah, you were cut. I was expecting, here we go.
Yep.
And it didn't happen.
And Canelo used that time to rejuvenate himself. And
of course.
Yeah, so he was over there, getting his faculties back together, and he was able to, refocus, gain his ground, and present himself back into the boxing match to at least hang around long enough to make it to the 12th.
Right. And which, as a veteran, that's what he's supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do now. You're supposed to pull out the Bernard Hopkins tactics now.
Yes. I mean, this is his 20th year, folks. He's been fighting for 20 years. He started when he was 15 professionally. He's 35.
Yep.
So, he's going to, when you find yourself in those type of deep waters against a caliber fighter of Terrence Bud Crawford, you have to pull out all the tricks of the trade.
You have to.
And utilize them. Whether it's, you call it dirty or not, I'm not here to call Canelo a dirty fighter.
I just think he had to go in his bag and use a tactic. It's no different than you getting hit with a solid punch and you having to hold on to the fighter.
That's it.
Or if you, like Charlo did, Charlo took a knee. Yeah. Let me take a knee, regain my faculties, so I can at least make it to the 12th round.
Right. Now, I'm going to go left here for a second, and we'll come back. But it's different when Tank took a knee.
Oh, that's different.
So that's a different type of knee.
That's a different type of knee. He surrendered. That was I surrendered knee.
Right. And now I'm gonna go fight Jake Paul. We'll talk about that another time.
Right.
But I'm with you on that. Sometimes you just have to, utilize all your resources, all your tools in your bag to help you get through and survive, so that you can, fight another round.
Yeah, because it's bad enough you getting beat up.
Yeah.
It's bad enough that I watched a video and Andre Ward told him that he was down, just like Tim Bradley told him he was down in the Sean Porter fight. He said, hey, man, you down. That next round, that's when Terrence came out in the middle of the ring and said, we about to bang it out. It was Bomac in the trainer saying, hey, stop. We don't have to do that.
Right.
But that's the round that I think took Canelo's heart.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, you saw when Canelo let his hands drop and kind of walked away, and just frustration of just like, what can I do? What do I do? Those
were moments where he quit, and then he came back to himself and said, I can't quit. I have to at least finish. But he quit several times.
You can't quit on Mexican Independence Day in front of 70,000 people who came to see you win.
Right, and I think that's what he was thinking about in those moments when he said, all right, let's go. I think that's what he was thinking about when he was about to get knocked out. He was like, I can't get knocked out now, so I have to do this headbutt tactic. And then you notice nobody's talking about it.
Right. Nobody wants to talk about that. And here's the thing, man. So what I thought was beautiful about Bud's work was, especially in round 9, when he decided, you know what, let's square up with him in the center of the ring and see what he's got. The way he did it. Short punches, direct. There was nothing loopy. There was nothing wide.
Blocking Canelo stuff.
Yes, right there. And you could see, because normally Canelo likes to roll with the punches, or he tries to slip.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good with his upper body defense.
He is.
He could not get out of the way because Bud's combos were so. The quickest way to the point is, straight line, right?
Yep.
He was so straight and direct, and he's also a very accurate puncher.
Yep. Very.
Everything was in the pocket, but like right there, boom, 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 and then he would move and be ready to go at it.
Launch again. Yep.
Again.
Launch another attack.
And if you slow it down, especially that sequence at the beginning of round 9, or right when they were going at it in round 9, you could see that Canelo. Or watch it at full speed, folks. Watch it however you want to, but you're going to see the same thing. He was a half second slow, and he was seeing it coming, and it was almost like, oh no.
And there's nothing I can do.
Because you can't get out of the way. It's too late.
It's too late.
Because if you see this one's already here. And there was a moment in the fight during that sequence, or maybe it was round 10. It was one of those where Bud caught him with a short. I want to say it was a short left. And swept. Poof. It was like he got hit with a water bullet. Right? And Dre said, "Oh."
Yep.
And it was, I mean, it was short. If you don't have a keen eye for boxing, you would have missed it and just thought,
Right, it was short, compact punch, and then I think Canelo threw another punch. He either threw one before or after, and Max tried to jump on that as if, that was more effective. But Andre Ward reacted to that short, compact punch that Bud threw, and he saw the effect on it, especially sitting right there ringside.
yeah. And that's the thing that I thought was also telling, that Canelo's punches were ineffective.
Mm.
That was hurting Canelo,
Yes,
hurting him.
he
And
was.
what I loved, and we had talked about this too last episode, folks, nobody had ever really tested Canelo's body.
Mm.
What did Bud do? He started stabbing him right there in the gut.
Yep.
1, 2, and then back upstairs. Boom, 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 boom.
And then later in the fight, when he would hit Canelo, go for the abdominal area, he would Canelo start parrying the punch, and then but Bud was doing that to set up the left he was throwing over the top. And then that's one of the other times when Canelo got upset and quit. It was like, I can't do anything. You won't let me do nothing.
I mean, we saw Canelo throw the old school, like, major overhand.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like, a few times in one round. He's like, I'm just going to try it all. I'm just
Yep.
going to see what I can hit him with at this point.
And see if I can get something to land.
Get something. And
He got some good.
Canelo. He landed a couple of shots.
He did.
He did. But it just didn't have the impact, the effect that he would hope for, that everyone and their mama thought was going to have the impact on Bud.
Yep.
It didn't happen.
Bud ate him.
He ate them. And, like they were Skittles.
And then you remove that headbutt, Bud doesn't even look like he was in a fight, more or less with Canelo.
At all. And I think that
Canelo looked like he was in a fight.
and, he started to look like he was in a fight in the first 4 or 5 rounds.
You start seeing the swelling
on
and the
left
red.
side.
Yes.
The jab, I don't think people understand how effective and how powerful Bud's jab is when he's fighting southpaw. It's like a battering ram.
Yeah, I think I learned that when in the Kell Brook fight.
Oh, okay, yep.
I mean, of course, we saw it in Errol Spence, but if we go back some, that's when I first took notice of it. And I think that's a good description, good analogy is to comparison is to align it with the battle ram.
Yeah, I mean, because he's not throwing it out there solely for gauging distance. He's throwing it out there for a couple of reasons. Yes, for distance, but also to touch you and stop your momentum from coming in to do what you want to do.
Yep.
And if you happen to be not on his tier, and I'm going to say tier, not level, because he's a tier of everybody else that he's faced thus far.
He's a tier above them.
Yeah. And, we saw Kel got a good taste of it, but Errol really, that fight exhibited beautifully just how strong that jab is.
Yep. I agree.
We had never seen Errol's face look like it looked in that fight. I have never seen Canelo's face look the way it looked post-fight in an interview after Saturday night.
Yeah, and then you think about it. This was a fresh Triple G.
Yep.
Who fought 3 times. His face didn't look like that.
Nope. No. And while we're at it, props to Bud's cut man.
Oh yeah.
Because
You're right.
Nothing ever
came of it
with the headbutt cut.
Nope. Until the next morning, you could see it swell a little bit. It had swollen, but outside of that,
there was no triple. I mean, he was not bothered at all.
And while we're over there in the corner, just great job by Bud's corner.
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, Canelo Alvarez's corner proved why they have limitations, especially when it comes to helping them make adjustments. And it's almost like they've just been riding his coattail based on what he's able to do in the ring on his own.
Yeah.
But they had no answers.
You called it though. You said they're not going to be able to make adjustments, and you were right.
Yeah, I said the corner's not going to be able to make adjustments to offset the things that Bud do, because as soon as you make an adjustment for that, Bud is going to make an adjustment for that. And it's just going to keep going back and forth. And sometimes that frustration too, that Canelo that quit, it's almost directed toward the corner too, because it's like, man, I ain't got no help.
It's 5 against 1, it seems like.
Yes.
Because he has help over there. Where's my help?
I mean, so much so that when he was in there banging this joker in the 9th and 10th, you could hear Bomac saying, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. And then Bud wanted to switch.
No.
And he said, no, we're not doing that because it's working. We don't have to abort this plan. And then another thing I heard Bomac say in the corner, once he gave instructions, he would ask the other trainers, what y'all see?
That is why they are so successful. Because they trust one another.
Yep.
Bud trusts them. And they all respect one another's opinions in what they're in their eye and what they're seeing.
And there's no limelight looming.
None of that.
None
right?
of it.
It's all for the common goal of we're going to get these straps tonight.
Yes.
You know, and what is the best that we can tell him right now in this minute that we have?
Mm-hmm.
What is the best that we can give him so he can go out there and execute? Because we know he's going to execute whatever we tell him to do.
Right.
Right. And he'll make adjustments on the fly as needed. But what is it that we can send him back out into combat with? You know, as opposed to one guy being the sole voice.
Right.
While everybody else is just kind of like yes men, like
yeah, that.
You know?
And I think a lot of that was in Canelo's corner. I also commend Bud for listening to his corner. He's in there. He knows he can take the punch. He really wants to get him out of there and try other things to do that he think would allow him to be able to, you know, maybe get a knockdown or get Canelo out of there. But he stepped out of his ego enough to say, all right, let me listen to my corner.
Right. Now, so I'm going to piggyback on what you just said about getting him out of there. So round 12, the final 10, 15 seconds. Now, for my combat sports folks who are joining us, you know, there's a guy by the name of Max Holloway who fights in the UFC. He's now fighting lightweight. He fought Justin Gaethje in UFC 300. Max is notorious for pointing down and saying, let's throw for the final 10 seconds of the last round.
Right.
And he did it with Dustin Poirier in Dustin's his retirement fight. And so UFC 300, Max he would walk off knockout.
Mm-hmm.
Knocked out Justin Gaethje with 1 second to go, flatline, like
boom.
Face plant. Because they threw down for the final 10 seconds. Dustin Poirier threw down with him, but he got hit a couple times. He stepped back. It's like I have to clinch. A veteran move, right?
Exactly, veteran move.
He didn't want to go out like Justin went out, especially for his retirement fight in his hometown, New Orleans. Right. Shout out to Dustin. Shout out to Max. So what I saw with Bud in round 12, he clipped Canelo, and Canelo had to take a little step back and disengage slightly because I think he was going out.
He was going out.
Mm-hmm. And he got saved. For all intents and purposes, was saved by the bell.
Yes.
Because Bud ran out of time.
He ran out of time.
What I was going to ask you is, because you alluded to it, about Bud wanting to switch stances.
Mm-hmm.
And being instructed, no, you don't have to stick with it. Do you think that if Bud was able to go back to being orthodox?
Yep.
Do you think he would have gotten him out of there in your round, your predicted round of 11, or maybe sooner, had he done that.
Yes, because in the 10th round, I think that's the round I stood up, and maybe that's when the headbutt happened. But in the ninth or 10th round, I stood up, and I was like, I was thinking about you and your prediction. I was
Right,
like, oh,
right.
he's about to go, and then the headbutt happened, and then when the 11th round happened, I saw an opportunity for Bud to do it. So to answer your question, yes, I think if he would have kept going back and forth,
Mm,
switching in that round,
yeah.
he would have continued to frustrate. He would have continued to frustrate Canelo, right? And thus catching him with something that either gives him a knockdown
Right.
of the first knockdown of Canelo's career, right?
Yeah.
And or knock him out. But we all know that when Bud has you hurt, and it's because Canelo is trying his best to hide it too now, like a veteran. When Bud has you hurt, we know what the final result was going to be. He's going to finish
Yeah.
you up.
It's blood in the water.
It's blood in the water, and he's going after it.
Yeah. And I really thought, because when I said 9 and he came out the way he came out 9, I was like, I almost lost it.
I said he's out of here.
I almost lost it, and he just ran out of time. And once again, props to Canelo for hanging in there even when he wanted to really
Quit. He wanted to say no mas.
he wanted to do that. But props to him for hanging in there, finishing the fight, and also having the class that he showed post fight, and not making excuses and just saying that there was nothing he had for Bud. He couldn't do anything with him, and he was the better man tonight. And
And that's it.
that's just it. And some nights you just don't have it.
And he continued to stop people from trying to find reasons and excuses for why he lost the fight. If you go back and look at that press conference with Dan Raphael, who was one of the ones who was saying that their weight classes for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
but he was trying to position his comments, Dan Raphael, hence the last name,
Mm-hmm.
in a way where he was trying to come across as non-biased,
Yeah.
but he was for Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
And even when he told Bud congratulations, it was a sour congratulations. It was like something that he just had to say. But I noticed when he was questioning Canelo, he was trying to put Canelo in a position where he could use an excuse by saying I overtrained or the wars have caught up with and Canelo didn't give anybody any of it, and they had to swallow it. And I think it was that much harder for them to be able to digest it because Canelo was on a campaign saying, "Hey guys, I just lost. Just face it. Sometimes you just lose."
I
Like,
lost. Fair and square. I lost. Yeah. And that's why I have the utmost respect for him. Because even he knew and saw and understood that he just lost.
he
To a
lost.
better fighter. And I don't think that there's a need for a rematch because we were going. I knew we were going to get to that point as well. We're just going to get there now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a need for a rematch. I think Bud beats Canelo every time they fight.
Yep. It's like Mayweather said about Pacquiao. We fight 10 times, I beat him all 10.
Yeah, and just like when there was that talk of a rematch between EJ and Bud, Bud beats EJ every time.
And just like Canelo, EJ was like, what EJ said was basically saying, no rematch. Canelo came out and said it. There's no need for a rematch. I mean, I can't do anything with them, basically, is what he's saying.
Yeah. You all don't need to pay your money for it, and I don't need to endure it.
Nope.
So it's cool. I had the belts for my time, and now we're passing the torch.
It's just interesting. I just love how it happened, despite what Bud had to go through to get where he is now. But I knew it was one of those David and Goliath moments, and he was going to take down Goliath, and be the very thing in boxing that they spent all these years trying to keep him from becoming. And that's the face of it.
Right.
And we saw how many times he referenced God, and we saw how many times he uplifted his family. We saw how many times, especially on the Bud YouTube channel, how they're just normal guys living a normal life, but with access to things that the average person wouldn't have access to. So when you see all those things and all the acknowledgement from the man above, and he's as great as he is, and he went through the things he went through, to me it was a no-brainer to say, oh, this is David and Goliath, and God is going to show him favor. And then the very thing they didn't want him to be, he's now going to be bigger than.
And there's nothing any of us can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about that.
Just enjoy it.
That's it.
All you can do is enjoy it. And what I also wanted to talk about was how some of the Canelo-lites and those who just didn't want, even if you weren't rooting for Canelo, you just didn't want Bud.
Right.
There's those people out there that they.
Oh, absolutely.
Monday, when I returned back to work, there were a couple of dudes who walked by. We were talking about the fight, and one guy said, yeah, but Bud ran. It took everything in me to not get up out of my seat, because once again, folks, especially the casuals who are new to boxing or new to the channel, or just new in general, and you're used to watching, say, MMA or UFC, and that's no disrespect to UFC or MMA, but this is boxing. It's not brawling. It's not a street fight.
Tough man contest.
Not a tough man contest. It's the sweet science of being able to go in there, hit your opponent, and try not to get hit. You're trying to outscore, you outpoint by touching him.
Yes.
And moving.
Yep.
And Bud did a beautiful job of all that. He stuck and moved. He got on his horse when he needed to.
Yep.
He made Canelo move his feet.
Yes.
Which are slow. Which drains the gas tank.
Yep.
He went to the body, which drains the gas tank.
We saw it.
And then what did he do in 9 through 12? He stayed in the pocket, squared up, and threw down with it. And y'all got what you wanted, and you still said he ran.
You still say he ran. Then he went back in the 10th and did similar. He wanted to fight Canelo.
Right.
He wanted to stand right there and fight him. And the corner said, all right, that's enough. Get out of there.
Right. So he almost slept your boy, and you said he ran. So I'm a little confused as to what fight they were watching.
He almost slept your boy, and some people saying he took a dive. He almost slept your boy, and the excuses just keep coming, one after another. He still don't have it. He doesn't have anything left to prove. He wasn't hyped for the fight. Like, yeah, but let's remember what you guys were saying before that. Mm-hmm. They're weight classes for a reason. He's too big. Bud's too small. But when Bud got on that weight scale, those people knew what time it was.
He knew what time. Canelo knew what time it was during the face-off.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He knew what time it was. And I'll tell you this, man. Now that the fight has come and gone, and the result is what it is, I think the fight, or the first fights like this are in 3 stages.
Mm-hmm.
You have the initial press conference where you announce the fight.
Mm-hmm.
You have the weigh-in and the face-off.
Right.
You have the actual fight.
Mm.
Bud won all 3 phases of the fight.
Mm.
Because he showed up in the announcement.
Right.
Not conceding that well, I'm moving up, and this is a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge for me, but I'm ready for the task,
Right.
and I'm going to show y'all on September 13th
Mm-hmm.
that I'm gonna stop. His words, not mine. I will stomp mud holes in your boy.
He
Right?
leaned back and said it. He leaned back at Canelo and said, "I'm gonna stump a mug hole in you too."
And then when he pressed him, and folks were like, "Oh, he's gonna regret that," and Canelo was like, "You're gonna."
Yeah, he was doing his finger like that.
So that's phase one.
Mm-hmm.
But he wins that. Phase two, we were talking about, the weigh in and what we saw in Bud's chest. Like I told you, I think that was just the excitement of like, we about to.
You did say that. Yep.
Yeah, this is about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But what I saw in Canelo, when Bud weighed the exact same, and he looked the way he looked, and Canelo was always the first one to look away, always the first one to back down.
Mm-hmm.
In all of those, right? I think he knew in the back of his mind, I done bit off more than I can chew. Because this is not fighting a Charlo or
where you could see and smell the fear. Ooh, and in the aura of the whoa, I'm fighting Canelo. I'm actually in here with them. He noticed that Bud carried none of that.
None of it. Not one iota of it. It was like he didn't. It's almost like he wasn't there.
Right.
And when Bud walked into the ring, and then Canelo came into the ring, I knew, man. It was just a matter of time.
That's it.
And if we still went 15 rounds, Canelo would have gone to sleep.
He would have been to sleep. I was gonna say that earlier when you were saying that he ran out of time. Yeah. If this was old school and we had 15 rounds, then Canelo definitely doesn't stand a chance. I wouldn't be surprised if he faked the injury to quit, sort of like Amir Khan did, instead of going out on his shield in front of all those people. Yeah, and you could see Bud still had energy left in the tank to go another 3-4 rounds.
He was ready.
Yes.
He was prepared because Bomac said post-fight, and it wasn't necessarily at the post-fight press conference. This was his post-fight interview with Fight Hype or somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they have been training for Canelo for years.
Just prepping.
And I think that's the genius of what Bomac and his team do, right? They seek out the megalodons of the ocean. And they prepare for them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we saw Big Fish, or we saw what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
We saw King Canelo, we saw what happened there. But they're like, okay, I see something. This is the mark. Okay, let's prepare for all the scenarios.
Right.
Every scenario that's possible. So that when it becomes work time, it's playtime.
I like that.
If you rewatch the fight, we'll have to watch it again, and we'll maybe one episode what we can do is maybe not round by round, but we'll pick certain rounds to go through and just break it down. I like that idea. Yes. Yeah, we'll go through and we'll break it down for folks, and you can see that there were times where Bo was just like doing some pity pat stuff on him. You just kind of do it when you toying with somebody. When you just playing with your food, because you just having so much fun. In addition to that, he was having so much fun. We mentioned it earlier. He was laughing at Canelo, laughing at him, which frustrated him even more. He was laughing at him. But this is Canelo. This is King Canelo. 63-2-2. Somebody with a blueprint out there on how to beat him 5 times. There are 5 blueprints out there. That's how I meant to say it.
Somebody who has 5 blueprints out there.
No, because he only had 2 losses, Rich.
Ver-
He only had 2 losses.
versus somebody with 0.
Right. And once again, this is not Canelo hate. So please, folks, this is not Canelo hate.
This is keep straight down the middle.
Yeah, and I'm saying it this way because it almost seemed as though folks were delusional that in saying that it was almost impossible for Bud to do what he did.
Impossible. And going with the narrative of he hadn't fought nobody.
And he said anybody can be a nobody.
Anybody can be a nobody.
You know, and everybody that he fought turns into a nobody. Because once again, in order to become undisputed, you have to beat somebody.
You have to.
Somebody held the belts.
Yes.
So how do you become undisputed in 3 different weight classes and fight nobody?
And you're doing something that hasn't been done. The somebodies haven't done it, but the nobody has done it.
Right. So
3 times.
So what you just said right there is the mic drop of all mic drops. Because we're talking about the 4 kings, none of them did it.
Nope.
Which was, in my opinion, in my lifetime anyway, was the golden era
of boxing. Yep.
Boxing was never better.
Right.
Than when I was growing up and watching it with my dad and my brothers and my mom, like
on the regular channel broadcasting.
Just watching
with the knob turning TV.
Yeah. You know?
Boom.
And seeing Sugar Ray and Hearns, seeing Sugar Ray and Hagler, seeing Duran and Hitman, like seeing all those guys go at it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's to me that was the pinnacle of what the sport, well, at least what I thought it could be.
Right.
And what Bud has done is taking it and saying, okay, well, let me show you you showed us what it was. Let me show you what it could be now.
Right. And then that's why he's in the GOAT category. I watched Roy Jones and Andre Ward respectfully, and they talked about how Bud now is in the neighborhood. He may not be the GOAT of all the GOATs, but he has a house in the neighborhood. And he rightfully so, because he gets to sit at the table and say, here's why I'm here. I was able to do X, Y, and Z, and nobody in any era was able to do that. And we may never see it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only guy I can think of that comes close is like Henry Armstrong.
That's it.
I can't think of anybody else. And if there's someone in the comments who knows of someone else who
please feel free to drop it in. Yep.
Please drop it in. But I can't think of anyone outside of Henry Armstrong that has even come close to doing what Bud accomplished on Saturday night.
Yep.
And I think that moving forward, I don't know I don't know that there's anybody else for him to fight.
Yeah, like
because my man at work, the one who said that Bud ran, he said, well, now he should fight Benavidez if he's really the champ. And my thing is that Benavidez is a light heavyweight.
Yep. He's fighting at light heavyweight.
Bud has already said, I'm not fighting him.
Nope. It makes no sense to.
It's no sense. And also, Bud's not a light heavyweight.
He's not a light heavyweight.
And on top of that, man.
And Bud is not going to do the rehydration clause, the catch weight. He's not into that. And like he said before when they asked him about David Benavidez, he said, man, that guy come in at 200 pounds. If that's the case, I might as well go fight a heavyweight.
Yeah. Why not? It's the same thing.
He doesn't need to. If anything, I think, because I was going to ask you about this, what do you think Bud should do next? I think Bud should do a Mayweather move where he goes, if he wants to fight at 160, or he makes one of the Charlo brothers come up to 168 and fight a Charlo brother in a money fight. And
Be done.
see y'all.
Yeah, be done.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm gonna only beat up Charlo because I owe him this ass whooping for not fighting me after I beat EJ.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna still come back and give it to you, and then I'm gonna leave. I don't care. I don't care if you're not ranked. I don't care what the boxing world thinks about you. This is personal, unfinished business.
I don't care if you're not ranked. Yeah, I don't care what you say.
I don't think he should go back down and fight Boots.
No.
I don't. Yeah, I would fight Charlo for Mayweather Berto moment
Yep. And be done.
and be done.
Just dust him off real good. Be done with it.
Cause he owed him that. He owed Charlo that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go out 43-0
Yep.
and go live life, man.
That's
Go
it.
live life.
Don't let. And I'm glad Bud has like a one track mind. He's a man's man, and I don't think Turkey would be able to talk him into doing anything asinine.
No, because that's what is what has gotten Bud here now, is that he's maintained, stood 10 toes down, and stayed true to himself.
You're absolutely right.
When they wanted him to dance, he wouldn't dance.
Nope.
When they wanted him to be a certain way, nah.
When he wanted
And
it,
he got shunned and criticized for it, and he became an outcast for it. He has no personality, he's this, he's that. But now look at it.
and I think that Antonio Banderas ring walk with the case, I think that said a lot.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that minus the band. If he had came out there with no music and just that case alone.
Man. But he was doing his homie a solid.
He was doing his own, yes. And those are the type of things I rock with. And there goes again. That goes to show you who Bud is, what he stands for, and God rewards us for that.
Yeah, man.
You get rewarded for that. If it was like we're in the entertainment business, acting, if I'm writing a show or vice versa, I say this as vice versa now.
Mm-hmm.
I write a show, get you recognized. I have say in casting. It's going to be directed by Felicia Rashad, let's say Kenny Leon, or it's an upcoming spunky director.
Mm-hmm.
This role was written for Brandon Jones. He has to play this. We can go through the channels of auditioning, but this has been ordained for him. Then you have to throw out words like that to let people know where you stand.
Exactly.
But God favors that type of loyalty. When you can look around the room and you see familiar faces, not where, hey, come in for a minute. Who is that? Where they come from? Who brought them in? Yeah.
Right.
And that's not happening over there with Bud.
No, man. And that's what I respect about him too. And it's that whole team,
The whole team.
The whole team, man. It's family.
Yep.
It's family. And I think that they have really conducted themselves in a professional way.
Mm-hmm.
They're also just very real.
Yep.
Who they are. And it's funny, but over these last 2-3 years, I think people have reluctantly fallen in love with them.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good thought. That's good.
Don't want to, but it's hard not to.
It's hard not to. And you know what? That may be why some of the fanboys are quiet too.
Because you can't do anything but respect. You don't have to like it, but you have to respect it.
You have to respect it. And I think you're right. That respect is turning into fandom.
Yeah. Like, man, I was hoping, but since he beat because there's two sets of fans right now.
Mm-hmm.
That were hoping that their guy was going to shut everybody up and dust off Bud, right? And what this reminds me of is that, the story about his mom paying everybody, paying.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Paying EJ came up.
You're right about that. That's a nice, alignment. The people were paid to knock him off.
And everybody came up short.
That's God, baby.
It can't be anything else.
It can't be anything. Like how else do you explain that? Who did you before we close out? Who do you think? What do you think Bud should do next?
I think Bud's done.
You think this is it?
I think he's done. I don't see anybody else that's outside of the Charlo, like, I owe you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. I don't see there being a fight that's worth it for him.
Blue Blood. Shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV. That's my boy. Him and my boy Jerry, my cousin Jerry. They real close. Blue Blood mentioned that he was supposed to fight the champion at 160 that he was thinking about. I can't think of the champion name right now. If anybody watching this, you can drop the name in the comment section. It escapes me right now, but I just watched Blue Blood talk about it.
Okay.
And I think he has like 2 belts at 160. So Bud was considering going down to 160 just so he can be, I think it's what, 5 or 6 in different weight divisions? What would that be?
I think this was
135, 40, 47,
40,
54.
54, and now 68.
Yeah, so it was 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was thinking about that. I don't know how true that is. It's just something I got from watching his channel. I don't know much about the fighter. I had to go do some research on him.
Yeah.
But it's almost like one of those, let me do this, become champion at this division too, and then exit out.
Well, if the guy has more than one belt, I'll rock with him.
Right. I saw him in a picture,
Okay.
and he had 2 belts around him at 160.
Okay. Well, then it's worth it, right? Because I feel like now he's kind of what EJ was at 47. He's only going out and taking belts.
Yes. But he's going from weight class to weight class.
And taking all your belts, right? And I'm going to give your belts back to you. Because
Yep.
my belts will be customized for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm taking your titles. That's what he said to Ariel Hawani on his show. He said, because Ariel asked him, like, so you really give the belts back? Yeah, they're his belts.
That's his. Stephen A. asked him that too.
Yeah, like you really give the belts back? Yeah, I mean.
He said, Stephen A. said, but those are your belts. And he said, no, those are his belts. I took his titles. They're going to send me my own.
Yeah. And I think that's what he's in the business of doing now. So if the guy at 160 has multiple belts in that division, then sure. And then right off into the sunset.
Yeah, I think that now that, especially with this Canelo feet behind him, the EJ feet behind him, I think that he could possibly be looking at it long term. Like if I go down, fight this guy at 160, win, and then leave, then that puts me in a different category in history. And people will be arguing about if I'm the GOAT of all GOATs moving forward. And they would have a legitimate claim there.
It would be hard to not give it to him.
It would be hard.
It would be hard. Because I think I have to concede that he's the best complete boxer that I've seen in the past 30 years. Complete boxer.
Yeah, and I think that's a OD to his ability as an athlete, being able to go in any sport and dominate. So you got a point there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tip my hat to that point you made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not saying he's the best at a particular thing. He's just the most complete.
Yes, he's the most complete.
He's the Voltron. He's got all the pieces, all everything. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you put it all together, and you get Bud Crawford.
Yes, Voltron. That's a good. Yeah, that's a good one, Voltron.
Yeah, he's a good Voltron, and I think that he's just going to go down in history, regardless of whether he goes down in 160 or not. He's going to go down in history as being If he's not one of the four, he's the head on the other side
Oh,
of the mountain. You know, he's the head on the other side of the mountain. It's just like,
oh, I like that.
you know, he's
Right.
on the mountain. He just may not be the one facing you, but he's right
But
where
when
you
you go around to the other side,
are.
he's there. I
There.
like that.
You know, so those are my thoughts. What do you think he does?
Like I mentioned earlier, I think he's going to well, that's different from what I want. I I think he might go down to 160. Since I heard Blue talk about it, I think he might go down to 160, take
Yeah.
those titles, and then ride off. But what I would anticipate happening is him saying, "Hey, Charlo, meet me at. I'm coming down to 160 to get you. We got some unfinished business," and it would just be a IOU fight.
Right.
Because if we go back and we just watch what he was doing well, it was just one Charlo brother, I think, that was there. But he's fighting EJ in the biggest fight of his career, T-Mobile Arena, electrified. Then he goes to the corner and
Yeah.
start having these conversations with the
Yeah.
guy in the ring. You next.
You next. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a son you. I'm a son you next.
Yeah.
Why he in here handling business?
What and I hate to keep making the comparisons because there's really no comparison here. But once again, my UFC and MMA folks will know what I'm talking about. Max Holloway was in the middle of a fight against Calvin Kattar, piecing him up. This is the fight where he had landed the most strikes in a UFC fight in the history of the sport. As he's piecing him up, he looks over to the commentating crew, Daniel Cormier, and he says, "I'm the best boxer in the UFC." Slips a punch as he's doing it, and pop, pop. And sometimes we get in the zone.
Wow.
He was in the zone.
I got to check that out.
But it was mid-round.
Wow.
He's looking, pop, pop. I'm the best fighter, best boxer in the UFC. Pop, pop. And I'm just like, this is not happening.
That reminds me of what Floyd was doing with Joppy.
Right. So there are those few, right? There are those select few, those gifted ones, right? They can have that moment of where I'm gonna use this reference of The Last Dragon where you get the glow.
Oh.
You get the glow and you're able to catch the fist. You must catch the bullet in your teeth.
Right.
And you just everything slows down and it just seems easy to and for you. And I think that that was a moment for Bud where he was belt to ass for EJ, and he's telling him like you next.
And it's gonna be buckle to ass.
Right. And I think that before we go on and get out of here, do you think there's any validity to EJ fighting Charlo? Or do you think that's ever going to really materialize, or is that just?
Yeah, I don't think Charlo is willing to have that stain, that moment recorded where Bud dismantled him the way he did Canelo and EJ. So he'd rather not entertain it. Yeah. And probably hoping Bud doesn't call him out or ask for the fight.
Right. But do you think that Charlo will fight Spence?
Oh, that fight. Oh, yeah, I think that fight's going to happen.
That's actually going to happen.
Yeah, I think that Spence feels comfortable enough to actually think that he can, win that fight.
Because of the sparring history and just knowing
knowing him, and maybe sizing him up. And then it's one of those things that where if he did lose, he doesn't anticipate himself losing to Charlo the way he lost to Bud. So it could be one of those situations where it was like Sean Porter, where if he doesn't get that knockdown, then, the fight could have went either way. The knockdown saved him. So if it is a close fight like that,
Yeah.
and let's say Charlo gets the nod, then we can set up a rematch.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I just, I honestly just don't want EJ to fight anymore.
Yeah, I think he should just leave it right there. But because he has to also put himself in that, because he's put himself in a position where he doesn't do tune-ups, just to sort of test himself, get himself back in the ring, get acclimated. So he's not going to eat those words. So I'm with you. I think he should leave it be. It's almost like, except for a few YouTube channel folk, that hasn't gotten over it. Most of the people, it's past them. So if you go out with the way you did with Crawford, the Canelo thing kind of overshadows it. You'll get mentioned, but it'll just be something to where we look at it like, especially what Crawford did to Canelo, is that, hey man, nobody couldn't have beaten him. So it sort of takes some of the sting off the EJ butt whipping. Right. So if he stays retired, it's not that bad.
Yeah, and the reason I don't want him to come back is because it's not so much the way he looked his last outing, it's the layoff. It's
that too.
It's the. I mean, I would think that when you've been beaten in that fashion,
mm-hmm.
and you've never been beaten that way before,
mm-hmm.
you've had such a long layoff to just sit and replay it, and it's replayed every promo, and it's all you keep reliving.
Yep.
Right. No matter how much you try to get away from it, it always resurfaces. You're human, and so I don't know that he is the same. He's certainly not the same EJ that he was pre-car accident, regardless of what people want to say.
Right.
Because we even know that he came back and he put it on Danny and he beat Ugas. He looked good. But pre-accident EJ was a monster.
He was a monster.
He was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think that EJ would have beaten Bud.
I don't think so either, because that pre-EJ was about to lose to Sean Porter.
Right.
And that's no knock on Sean now.
No.
Sean fought them all, them been champion and beat them. Yep. They had that thing going sort of like the Duran era, the Hearns era, where they was just interchanging the title. Yeah, I beat you, you beat him, but you didn't beat him, you didn't beat me. Like that sort of thing. So there's no knock on Sean.
At all.
Yeah, I think that EJ still doesn't beat Bud.
Yeah.
Pre-car accident.
Nope. And I just think that, you had a good run. We appreciate you for what you contributed to the sport.
You made that fight happen.
Yeah.
Like,
and what he actually did was he helped illuminate Bud and shine the light on him where the light needed to be.
He did.
It's like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna give this guy the opportunity because he deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm trying to prove that I am what I think and feel that I am.
Yep. Yeah.
So it happens, he's better.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm with you. I would just stay out of it. But if the fight materialized with him and Charlo, that's the way I sort of see it playing out. It could be like a repeat of the Sean Porter. I mean EJ. But it could be a rematch, a similar fight to what happened with Sean Porter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll also be interesting to see who's in the corners.
Oh, yeah, because I think Charlo them still work with Derek.
Yeah, we know Errol doesn't. So
I wouldn't be surprised if he came back, especially after what he did to, Bud did to those Canelo. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Bomac camp. Yeah, I wouldn't be. Based on things that Bomac has said, like Spencer's a good fighter, but he hasn't worked on anything since the amateurs. and then the things that he could come in and tweak.
Right.
Yeah, so something like that could possibly work, but it remains to be seen. Because I know one time he was talking about tank coach, but the one thing nobody would be thinking about is him going over there with and I think that he was in his gym for a bit.
Right.
That some talk about that, but I'm glad he didn't take the Fendura fight. I thought that would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
I think Keith is going to regret it, but we'll talk about that as time goes on or gets closer to the fight. But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen with Spence. Those are my thoughts about Bud post Canelo, and we'll be able to revisit this moment as time go on to see where we fall as far as those predictions is concerned.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. I'm gonna let you get out of here. Before you guys go, please do us a favor and hit the like button, the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so you can catch all our latest content right here on YouTube. I'm Brandon Jones.
I'm Reggie Lewis.
And this has been Turnbuckle Boxing. So please check back with us later, and y'all be easy.
Peace.